am a channel, like I channel spirit, specifically Jesus. But I did go to the hospital and I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. If I raise my Kundalini, that addiction will be gone because the Kundalini will come up and be so powerful that it will basically cleanse the system. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do that. So one night I spent one night where I just kept going in and trying to raise the Kundalini like all night long. And finally it happened. And it was like, I don't need cocaine. So nobody's doing anything. You're not doing anything. And even the illness doesn't even exist. There's nothing. So my name is Erin Michelle Galito. Um, I am a channel, like I channel spirit, specifically Jesus. And that's basically my life. Actually, that's it. I channel Jesus.
Okay, we're done. That's so wonderful. Why make people things so complicated? It's so easy. Yeah, that's it. It seems like, well, it seems like a little task you have in life, but it sounds like you're coming out with the big guns. I mean, Jesus. Some people they
Yeah.
say, "Jesus, what's happening? I can't believe it. What happened? How did you get to this point?"
Let's see. So all my life, I've always had his voice speaking to me. And so when I was little, I just I just had that knowing, okay, this is Jesus. Even my mom said we were in the hospital once for my grandma, I think, and there was a picture of Jesus on the wall. And I looked up, I think it was like four, and I looked up at it and pointed and said, I love him. And mom was like, that's weird. I've never talked to you about him. And it's just like that knowing, okay, so, I had this voice speaking to me all my life, like guidance. And originally, I would just hear messages from him and write them down, and they became poetry. And so for a long time, I said, oh, I'm going to be a poet, and I'm writing this beautiful poetry. And I had, sketchbooks because I was an artist too. So in my sketchbooks, I would write down all these messages and I would look over them like, this is so beautifully written. Wow, I'm a great writer. And then eventually it was like, I don't think that I'm writing this. Because when I would try on my own, like, okay, I'm going to try to write a book. Horrible. Couldn't think of anything, or it wouldn't last very long. But then if I was just listening to his voice and I'd be writing down these things, it would get pages upon pages upon pages without effort. And so I was like, okay, I get it. I'm not supposed to be the one writing anything. I was supposed to be receiving and writing it down.
Well, I have a little suspicion that like there's actually nothing on this planet which is happening by ourselves because we are not separate entities. So
Exactly.
everything that happens, it's coming through us. So
Right.
even those who claim I'm the artist, this was
Oh,
my
yeah.
idea, I made this, I'm.
Exactly.
Yes, and I'm a little bit influenced. I watched some of your videos, and then yesterday I think I drive, and then wow, in front of me I saw a car, and someone had something written about Jesus on the back, and I said, "What? I can't believe it."
Yeah.
And of course, I must confess that I grow up in a rural area. We are Protestant here over here, but we are Protestant by default. And no, we did not go so much to the church only for Christmas. So and everything related to church was like, oh my God, no, what are they are going to tell us this stuff. I don't believe anything. So every time I heard the word Jesus or heard something of church, I said, oh no, my God, no, I don't want this. This is like, no, this is not for me. But
Right.
I'm waking up to the idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because I like my family, especially my father's side is Catholic, very Catholic. So, and my mother's side was Episcopalian. So it was like we would go to the Episcopal church when I was little, and it was be like, okay, and I'm a kid, so it's boring. And then Catholic church was even worse because it's even more boring. They're even more strict. And although there was a beauty to the rituals, there was something really pretty about it, and it really reached me on that deeper level of like, okay, this is different than normal life, so that's nice. And it would take like an hour and a half, and then I'd be ready to go. But yeah, I eventually we stopped going because we moved around and just didn't really fit into our lives anymore. And so I was very interested in spirituality, and I was interested only in the ritual of Catholicism. So it was like I really thought it was beautiful, the architecture, the the decorum and all of that. That was really profound to me, but it really didn't resonate with me. I went through um, I got confirmed Catholic, and I just felt like, wow, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. I mean, they're telling me that I'm like worse than a sinner. You know what I mean?
Oh, good news.
Exactly. And I was just like, this is horrible. So when I was very young, I'd say like pre-teens, teens, I was still interested in the presentation of the church. Like I used to go to a it's called the Basilica of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, D.C., because it's so beautiful. And you feel very connected there because everything's focused on God and all of that stuff. And so I'd go there and I'd feel that spirit there, but when I'd leave, it wouldn't be there. In the actual church service, it was not there. That's an interesting part. Um, but I was still interested in what is this. So I started branching out, and I did some reading of some mystical things like what is that? The Cloud of the Unknowing or something like that. It was written by I don't remember who it was, but it was I don't know if she was a nun or if it was a monk who wrote that, but it was very, very mystical, like very deep, very devoted stuff, which I really liked, but that didn't really resonate with me either because it didn't answer my questions. Like I didn't connect with it in that whole way of like I really get it now. So I did branch out into more of the Eastern stuff. I got into um, some Hindu teachings, which I thought was interesting because here I am, and I could still feel Jesus. I could still feel Jesus the whole time. So I remember I picked up the Bhagavad Gita and I like devoured that. There was stuff in there that really reached me. But in the middle of reading it, I could feel Jesus. And then Jesus started talking to me while I was reading the Bhagavad Gita. He didn't talk to me while I was reading the Bible or anything like that or anything, but he reached me through the Bhagavad Gita.
Wow,
And
that's a beautiful mix, I must say.
yeah, I mean it was really and I could really feel him. And I asked him, I said, "Is this true? Is all of this true?" And he said, "Almost, but not quite. There are some pieces that are missing." And I'm like, okay, what would that be? And he's basically you'll find out as we go along. And
That's a cliffhanger, I would say.
well, it's so funny because the missing I was led to then, well, there's a longer story to this. I did the whole um, the Bhagavad Gita and those texts, and then I got into yoga, and I got into Kundalini yoga, and that he reached me there too, which is funny. um, and I had a Kundalini awakening actually way before this is like such a not very clear because the timeline is way off because then this goes way back and then so I'll tell you that part. It's kind of um, so when I was in college, I of course like college people always do, I guess. I did get into some drugs and cocaine, and I thought, but I could always feel Jesus. and um, and I was like, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this. I know that this is not what I want to do. And I said, but I don't know how to quit it. I do
But
not know how to
uh,
quit it.
but had you conversation with Jesus? Jesus like,
Yeah, it's
okay,
been,
go with cocaine. Let's try that. Oh,
it was more like because I had this inner dialogue, like I could hear him talking to me, but of course not when I was high.
okay, then it was shut off, right? When you were high? No, no
Not
telephone,
not
nothing.
quite, not quite, because I
Okay.
would still hear from him, but
Okay.
he's basically like, this is not the inroad to where you're going. Do it, but you're going to give it up, you know. And I could tell that he was saying that I would be giving it up voluntarily. It's not like, oh, you have to give this up. It's like basically I'll come to a point where it's like I don't want to do this anymore. And
But
I just
they didn't have to fix you a straitjacket to get you out of away from cocaine. It
no,
really.
the funniest, this is the craziest thing is I don't know if I had been reading about Kundalini at that point or not. But one night I said, I want to quit cocaine and I'm having a really hard time. And I just got this download from within myself that said, if I raise my Kundalini, that addiction will be gone. Because the will come up and be so powerful that it will basically cleanse the system. And so it's like, all right, I'm going to do that. So one night I spent one night where I just kept going in and trying to raise the Kundalini like all night long. And finally it happened. And it was like, I don't need cocaine. I don't want
Wow.
it. I'm not interested in it. It was just like literally a miracle and it was done. And then there were some other steps I went through. Um, and But literally that night after my Kundalini was awakened, I had no desire for it anymore.
It sounds it sounds too easy. Come on, where is the switch? Tell us so I can switch on my Kundalini. I
Oh,
mean,
that's funny. Yeah. It's just, it's interesting because I know, um, not to get off on other subjects, but, um, Joe Dispenza, right?
yes.
Yeah. He actually talked about that the Kundalini can do something like that. I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I just had this inner knowing that if I did that, it would clear the system and I'd be good to go. The problem is not the problem, but then after that, I had to continuously stay on that path of continuing to go up and out of that activity, and I did, and um, and then it all led to I'm trying to think now.
I just wonder, let me ask this question. I mean, there's two possibilities. When you tell your family
Mhm.
and your people, those are around you and friends and stuff, and you tell them, you know, I'm speaking on a daily basis with Jesus. They might say, oh, how wonderful, you know, we like Jesus too. Or they might say, no, 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 you are speaking to the devil. What are you doing?
I know. Well, luckily, I come from a family that was open to that to begin with. My my dad and his family are Filipino. They love stuff like that. So it's like, oh yes, of course. You know, spirit is something that's really big in our family. And like my grandmother, and she always told stories about how she would see these spirits and talk to them all the time, and angels are always talking to her. And you know, we were like, okay, grandma, that's great.
Can we eat now?
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, there was that, and then so people were open to it. The people that I hung out with were also open to it, very interested in something beyond this world, something that they also had that intuitive knowing of like, okay, there has to be something more than what I see. And so I had friends like that. I was lucky.
Well, you are so lucky because it sounds like a fertile ground. It sounds like a supporting community. But like in mainstream, people might freak out. You know, they
Oh
say,
yeah,
"Oh no, this
definitely.
can't be. This is not possible." You know, I have this table in front of me.
Yep,
I'm knocking
exactly.
on wood. I don't believe anything.
Yep, yep. So I didn't have any issue with expressing that part of me with my family and friends. So that was very much a blessing. But as time went on, I did get off a little bit from all of it. I was like, well, you know, I was coming into my own, so to speak, and what am I going to do with my life? And there was this inner knowing, like I said, where I know that I'm here to do something greater than just a career and all of that. But of course, you know, when I was younger, there was that sort of wanting to chase a career because that's what I thought you were supposed to do. And so I wasn't good at that, but I ended up doing some small time modeling. And it's like, well, I might be okay at that. And then I could do runway, and then I'll just stop at the end of the runway and start talking about God. That was how I felt. And then, of course, that didn't happen. I did some runway shows and definitely did not stop and talk about God there. But things started getting going. I was signed to a small modeling agency, and I was like, well, I could still take this wherever I go and maybe get opportunities where I can talk about it.
I love this. Please, come on. I'm, I can't
Yeah,
believe it. It's just
I
you're
know.
going into this very commercial world, and
Yes,
like
it's
they don't
very
want to hear about that. You know, they want to take their cocaine and they want to make a lot of money and they want like to stay beautiful forever. And oh my
very,
God, it's just. But I wish you would have tried at least once.
yeah, I know. Me too. That would have been funny. But instead, right when I got a, um, a paid modeling gig, I started getting really sick and I got a vertigo, like really horrible vertigo. It was terrifying. And I had just read a story about some woman who had a terrible experience and died. And I was like, that's because I read that story and I'm going to die and all this stuff. And I didn't die, obviously, but I did go to the hospital and I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not, this is not nice to listen to that stuff, you know,
Oh,
when someone tells you that. It makes things very serious.
very.
How did you cope with that?
Well, I, you know, I was still in communication with Jesus. So there was still that connection, but I was not didn't know what was happening. And so I did, I was very sick. I stayed in the hospital for 7 days to do an emergency MRI. And I was like, I don't know if I'll ever get better. This is terrible. And I just immediately started feeling like, how can I fix this without medication? I do not want to take medication. And because the doctor, of course, my neurologist is like right away putting me on, they give you disease modifying drugs, which sounds great, right?
Yeah,
Terrible.
it's always, that's the expectation. I mean, I look at my father and he's taking like 10 different pills. And if there's any problem, he says, yeah, let's go to this guy with a white shirt. He'll tell us. And then
Yeah,
he gives us something and then problem solved. Well,
yeah,
it's not happening. It's not happening.
definitely not.
Um,
So it actually, the disease modifying drugs, which have been improved, but when I did it, was injection only, so I had to inject it myself. So every single day you had to inject it in different areas of your body. Very painful. And I was so glad that it didn't work out. I had a horrible reaction to it and could never take it. So I had to be taken off of that. And then they tried another one and that one didn't work either. I got sick from that again. And I said, you know what? I'm just not going to use anything. I want to find a different way. So, I had been into meditation and I thought, well, I could try to do it that way. And then I found out about this channel or Esther Hicks.
yes,
Yeah,
Esther, Abraham, and Esther Hicks.
Abraham. And I
Mm.
came, and my aunt brought me some Abraham Hicks. So I listened to that. I'm like, okay, they're saying that I can do this. I can fix this without any help from the outside. So I can do this. So I started really getting into that. And I felt like it was very guided by Jesus that I do that. And so I just did that for a while, the law of attraction. And that didn't work out for me. Well, the law of attraction obviously works out in some ways, but it didn't help my medical condition.
I have a
Um,
friend, I talked to him about it because I met him actually in Thailand, in Chiang Mai. And we also had an interview. He was in Germany. So he
mhm.
decided, well, he then found out that subtropical climate is actually easing a lot of the symptoms that people have. So it is like a very good idea. Are you living in a warm area where it's warm and you have warm climate?
Yeah, it is warm.
Yeah.
So,
So they say that this is helping. Just if anyone is listening and they have the problem with MS, maybe they should know this information that it actually has a strong effect, at least on the symptoms.
for me, it was dry. Heat and dry, that was good. I moved to Arizona and then I moved to California, and my symptoms were pretty um, quiet then. I'll say that if it's very hot and humid, which it is right now, I had issues with humidity. So that was a problem. It's not so bad right now, but
Hmm.
I
So, I mean, then you are in this situation, and next thing would be, hey, Jesus, come on, tell me what's up here. Why are you talking to me? Help me, no? I would say, I don't know.
did, I definitely did, and it took a while, but my aunt again, suddenly she's coming over with A Course in Miracles. And I was like, okay, she's doing this A Course in Miracles in the workbook from A Course in Miracles. And my mom was talking about that. I had remembered her talk about it. And I was never really interested in it, but he said, you need to buy A Course in Miracles. And I was like, okay. And so I went to the bookstore and bought it. And I was reading it and I could feel it. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I need to be looking at right now. So I really just went through the whole thing and I could feel just how much that resonated with me, everything. It was like, oh, I get it. I get it. So this is what I need to look at. And, I really understood then that after reading it and Jesus talking to me, it is not the body that needs healing, it's my mind. So I said, okay.
Okay, you say specifically for MS, the cause is not the body, but it is the mind that creates this, or can I say that?
Yeah, you can say it makes it. Um, and I felt a lot of guilt after learning that, but then I started, oh, Jesus said, but really it's not that the mind is making, well, the mind is making the MS, but it's not because of your thoughts that, well, how do I want to put that? Because everything is always thought, but it's not like,
Yeah, it is, but also, I mean, we are not our body, but
right,
we are
exactly.
not our mind either. I mean, we are not our mind. Our
Yeah,
mind works like another organ in this
exactly.
complicated little thing we call human existence. I mean,
Right. He said, you're not to feel guilty for having this experience. It's just something that you chose to experience. That's what he wanted me to understand. That it wasn't something happening to me, but it's something that I chose to experience for whatever reason.
my God, this is like when you have this news. I mean, people those are on a spiritual path. Sometimes they reach this point where someone they read it, someone says it to them. Everything that's happening actually, you yourself chose that,
Yeah,
and it's like, oh no, come on, I wouldn't probably choose that. Come on, I'm not stupid. This I don't like that, and even if I chose it, I don't want it anymore.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so obviously, I, of course, said, I don't want this anymore if I did that. And I did that. So what do I do? And it's like, well, I have to keep forgiving myself and I have to forgive the situation and stop beating up on myself for it because it's not helpful.
Can you help us to explain? Because people have an idea. Forgive is like, yeah,
Right.
okay, I forgive you. I forgive you. I'm
Right,
so big, I
exactly.
forgive you. But maybe you can elaborate a little bit so people can grasp there's a special way of forgiveness which is encapsulated in this wonderful book, A Course in Miracles. Maybe you can enlighten us a little bit about.
Sure, definitely. So the usual, I'll say, ego way of forgiveness is I forgive you for doing something. And the Course in Miracles, it's I forgive this, I forgive myself for making this decision, but really, in truth, nothing has happened. So there's nothing going on. So he goes on, you get to later in the book, you find out that there is no world, there is no body, so there's nothing. So nobody's doing anything. You're not doing anything. And even the illness doesn't even exist. There's nothing. And so you want to keep letting it go. That's the best way I can explain it is releasing. So forgiveness is like releasing. I'm going to let this go. I'm just going to keep letting it go rather than attaching to different scenarios and things that I think happened, you know?
So people, if you read the book, start in the beginning. You don't have to
Yeah.
jump right away there. Don't worry, you will reach this point, and so it's kind of you might find out that this whole show that's going on with yourself, with everything outside of you, it is actually a kind of illusion.
That's right. It's all illusion. And that was the biggest part was, because of course, with the modeling and stuff, I was, of course, a little identified with the form and like, yeah. And so I felt like the MS and things like that were punishments. Something I did, okay, so I'm guilty of something, so I'm being punished. And it was like, no, you're not being punished. There's nothing at all. So what's there to punish if there's nothing? There is no body, and so it's like it's illusion.
Well, the Catholics, they insist you got to be
I
punished.
know. Punished, exactly. Or you're going to purgatory or hell.
Some people don't want to wait. They like, okay, if I have to go to hell, let's start right away.
Exactly. Yep, let's make our own. So yeah, I was just in A Course in Miracles, you finally read about, oh, even the body is an illusion. You are not your body. You aren't even your life. Because the life that Jesus talks about in A Course in Miracles doesn't even isn't even here. There is no here. He says there's no place. You're nowhere. This is a dream. It's an illusion.
Yeah, we
So
have the idea that this is me and I'm looking outside.
yeah, and those things are that's happening to me, and those people are doing this, blah blah
Yeah, and
blah.
the truth is, it's so outrageous that actually everything outside and inside, it's all inside. There's only one,
Exactly.
and we're in it.
Right. That's right. And our job is to see our hidden darknesses, as Jesus says, because what's happening is the world is a projection of everything that we have within ourselves that we don't want to look at.
Okay, yeah. Some people say like Earth is like a school,
Yeah,
so that's our homework. Like we have to take a look and look into the stuff that's not so pretty. Yeah, look into the shadow. And okay, that's our task. And that's exactly what we do not want to see, right?
exactly.
We're like, no, 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 no. I want
Oh,
just have a
exactly.
happy life. Leave me alone.
That's right. And then we project it out onto other people and scenarios and say that it's them, and it's nothing to do with you. But really, it's how you react to things, it's what your interpretation is. That's the problem, not the thing you're seeing, which is interesting. That switch was really big for me.
You can talk to Jesus and you just ask him questions like for yourself, like Jesus, what I am going to eat today.
Yeah. And he laughs at that. He says, that doesn't matter. That's just silliness.
He's laughing right now, or what?
Yeah, he is laughing. That's funny.
Yeah, it's like, there's this old joke. I love it very much. I'm sometimes I pull it out. Maybe I might even repeat it several times on this channel. It's like, what can you do to make God laugh? And the answer is, well, tell him your plans.
Exactly. That's true. I love that. Yep. Which is
Yeah, and we are so obsessed with our material little things and looking for happiness outside that we do not, yeah, we think it's so important. But there is something more important beyond all of these experiences. As you say, look into the things we have to learn,
Mhm.
um, understand that we are not our body. But on the other hand, we kind of having this experience, and it enables us to learn, right?
Yeah,
What's your point of view about this?
it's definitely you do learn, and in fact, you don't even get to experience that learning until, of course, you transition for the most part, because it's like it's the things that we think are so small here sometimes can have a huge impact totally that we are not aware of while we're here. And I know that Abraham talks about it as like expansion. So your experiences you are going through here creates an expansion in the universe.
Yeah,
And
that is right. Like people think, "Oh no, I'm insignificant. Pff, what I'm
right,
doing here, I'm just a very little, very, very tiny wheel. I'm a little bee. Zzz, you know, nothing. How can that be important? Well, it is.
and
Guess what's happening?
yeah, it's amazing. It's like I've gotten glimpses of that before. It's just like we have no idea how much we're actually contributing to the expansion of the universe. And that's everything we do is part of that whole expansion. And it's constantly expanding. So,
Let me have a technical question. So
okay.
now there's me,
Mhm.
there's you over there, some pixels I see on my screen. And then you, as I understand, Jesus is always also there at the same time.
Yep.
Uh, the question is, do we really exist as whatever, even in the tiniest way, as a separate being?
Yeah.
I'm just throwing this question here
Yeah.
in because
Well,
maybe Jesus might have an answer about that.
yeah. Well, the ego makes scenarios, and the ego is our what our experience. I'm talking about the experience of you in a body is very ego is very tied to the body, and so that's the littleness of us, the ego.
Yeah, people love their ego. They are like mainly interested in what their ego has to say. And
Yeah.
is there anything good about this ego, or should we like really give up on on this
I think
habit?
to give up on that habit and just it's just this thing. We all deal with an ego, and it's really not a big deal. I know Jesus is really big about saying don't take it seriously
Yeah.
because he said there's nothing serious about it. And I know in the Course in Miracles he said what happened was you fell asleep and you seemed to come into this world, and if you had realized that this was just a dream, you would have laughed and the whole thing would have been dispelled. But and he says in there that we forgot to laugh.
Oh yeah, but I have I had a couple of experiences because I'm a very light-hearted person and I don't take anything serious. I make a lot of fun of everything, and sometimes people get very upset about it because they're insisting on their problems, and like you're like, ah, come on.
It's true. It's like because it isn't the real you that's having the problems. It isn't the real you that's finding offense in anything. It's your personality, which is from the ego. It's the part of you that you believe is separate from God, takes everything very seriously. And it has to take everything very seriously because if it didn't, it would cease to exist. Because if you laugh it
When
off,
we hear you speaking, there's so much truth, and especially when you in your YouTube videos, people you should really have a look at that. And then you have this direct connection. You like continuously learning. But I wonder, like you did also some studying. You like reading the Bhagavad Gita, reading Course in Miracles, and so you learn. Do you also do worshiping? Is it something that are you actively practicing some kind of worship?
I wouldn't call it worship. I call it, I do call it like I wouldn't want to go as far to say meditation, although it is meditation. It's a meditation, but it's a living meditation. So, like, that's living awareness, that's constantly being as mindful as you can be about your thoughts and what you're projecting out, and then taking that and forgiving it and choosing again and all of that stuff. So I wouldn't say that there is a worship that I do, but I guess you could say that's a worship without making it religious. I have a dedication to continuously turning my mind back to God as best I can and releasing stuff that really doesn't matter and noticing when I do get ingrained in something, like getting looking at media, and the ego is very interested in everything going on, and sometimes I forget and I get wrapped up in something, and then I have to calm my mind back and say, oh, I did it. When, okay, let's take X for example. you know
So, but it's not like Jesus has to knock on your door. Hello, hello, come back. What are you doing?
no, well, sometimes he'll say you're doing it again. He will say, just to let you know, you're scrolling.
Yeah,
And you know
beautiful.
what happens when you're
Stop this.
scrolling.
Stop the scroll.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you
it's.
know what
I mean,
way
this is. It's a so powerful practice. I mean, if people don't know how to worship or whatever, you're like, yeah,
it's
turn your mind to God. No, this is. It's
exactly,
beautiful. I love this that you're
because
telling
it
us.
really is about just doing that. Jesus says, "Be in the world, but not of it." So that means you can be in the world, but not have a belief in the world, not think that you need to do anything in the world as a person in the world, but really just continuously bring your mind back to God and release all of your quote unquote interests in the world. And so, like I said, when am scrolling, he says, you're scrolling again. Oh God, I have to put it down. Then I put the phone very far away and do something else. I do a lot of um, well, it's exercise. So like, it's not yoga. I do a lot of strength training, and what I do is I use it as a meditation. So I just whenever I'm doing my strength training, I'm really tuning in and becoming very present in the moment. And that's actually the best way to do that anyway. But
Yes. Yeah.
so, and that's important, that meditation does not mean you have to go away somewhere very far away from the world and not talk to anyone, but it's to be as mindful as you possibly can be while you're in the world.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And people miss the chances, because sometimes they are like complaining, oh no, I'm here in the office again. I have to wait in line. This might take half an hour. And they're like, oh no, it's so boring. I can't wait. Well, use it for meditation, no? This
Yeah,
is your opportunity. Here's your slot. You're not going anywhere. Why not being present? And maybe think about God,
yeah,
whatever that means for you.
exactly. I remember I used to get very aggressive driving, and I'd get so irritated when I would hit a red light. And Spirit started saying, how about seeing the red lights as an opportunity to tune in and become aware? It's like, okay, so I started doing that practice, and then red lights were awesome. It's like, oh, I can take a moment and get in touch with myself instead of continuing on down the road and doing whatever, and all of the aggressive driving went away.
Well, I would just was I just heard in my mind a lot of people say, "Oh, she's a human like me.
Exactly.
She has road rage. Thank
Yeah,
God. I thought she was crazy."
yeah. Or like you were saying, standing in line.
Yes. Yeah, yes. It's a real opportunity, and and there's so many of them. Like if you're doing your chores or whatever, just yeah, be mindful.
Yeah,
Use it. Use it.
use it, exactly. You have all these opportunities. things that
Yeah.
seem very boring. Good time to tune in and see what else is there. So,
So now you have this connection with Jesus. Is there also like a contract, or is there something like Jesus said, "Okay, let me talk through you. I need this is
I,
great. I need to talk to this one and that one." Or
well, I think that I would say it's a contract, but it was definitely shown to me that it was something that I agreed to do. It was something, it was like simultaneous, I'll say. It's like, oh, the request was there and the answer was at the same time. And that was I heard and answered at the same time. And so there's really nothing else. So I would say that that's a contract because it was like, there's absolutely nothing else that I could do.
okay, well, keep doing that. I think it's very, very interesting and very important messages are coming through.
Yeah.
And maybe it's very hard to grasp for a lot of people. Was
I
there
think
like an evolution, like when you started channeling and up to this point where you are right now?
not quite. I think that, well, I did have, like I said, when I was younger, when I was a child, I always had this knowing and I was always receiving guidance. And I was always being directed and I would do my best to listen. And like you said, I'm also human. I did other things and those things got messed up and didn't work out because they weren't supposed to. um, and I did have a prophetic dream. I don't remember when that was, many years ago. I must have been a teenager, and it was very vivid. I was taken to Abydos in Egypt, and shown into, I guess it was just Abydos, and I was taken to this room, and I was there with a number of other women, and I could tell the prince, which I understood was Jesus. It's like Jesus is coming, and he requested me to do something, and I said yes. And for a long time, I thought, wow, I was chosen to do this thing. And he said, everyone in that room, so to speak, was chosen to do this thing. And he said, everyone in the world is chosen to do this, but not everybody listens and not everybody responds. So, but definitely that dream was like, yes, I did respond. So I am supposed to be doing this. So,
Yeah, but maybe some people they connect with Jesus, but they say no, it's not Jesus, it's Saint Germain, it is the
fine.
angels, it is. Isn't that the same? Or
It is.
I
It is.
don't be, please, please. I don't want to offend Jesus, you know.
Oh, he doesn't care. He doesn't have an ego. So um, he can present, people will receive, I'll just call it spirit. So spirit can present itself in many ways. For me, it's Jesus. For someone else of a different faith, it could be someone else, or somebody, like you said, it could be Saint Germain, it could be angels, it could be Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, like anybody like that, any of them. Because really, when it comes down to it, we're all one. So
Yes, it's very hard to
I
understand.
know.
Our mind cannot, but yeah.
So
Maybe that's why we use this excuse. You know, we have like a permission
yeah,
slip. We ask, okay, give me this person. I want him to look
right.
good, and then I can talk to him. And then, and I wonder, you had this prophetic dream. So next thing I would think, well, let's go there. Let's have a look. You know, I've been there. Let's go again there. Did you do that?
I haven't, not yet.
Okay, it's on the bucket list. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
sounds good. Why not? I mean, you have to do something.
right. Yeah, I just know that if I went, I would remember a whole lot of things. because I know I had a very, I guess I had a reading once that he said that I had many lives in lifetimes in Egypt, and he said if you went to Egypt, you would remember all of them. I'm like, wow. So that would be an interesting trip.
I hope you find some time to be actually be
Yeah,
there, or you're there and they're like, oh, I remember this, I remember that.
yeah, exactly. It would definitely be fun.
Yes, it sounds very, very interesting. So let me talk about one little topic because some people they say, "Oh, channeling, oh Jesus, tell me the numbers for the lottery."
Right?
When you are doing this, you are channeling, and I guess in the beginning, maybe a lot of people they think, yeah, okay, she's channeling. I'm going to pay her, and then she tells me exactly what to do to fulfill all my desires.
I had a couple of those in the beginning, but mostly I have people coming who are already course students and things like that who are just interested in kind of getting more in touch with the divine and specifically though Jesus and specifically his teachings of Course in Miracles. So
So I would say, if people want to approach you, don't ask for a Porsche or for,
exactly.
the wonderful girlfriend because it's kind of a
Yeah,
waste of time. And the worst thing that can happen that actually it will come true. Then you will see, then you will
yeah,
learn.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. We most of the questions that come do have to do with working with the teachings of A Course in Miracles. And so it's like people, if somebody feels stuck on something, then we work through that stuckness. And then there's like a release that happens when you just, stop. And Jesus always says, don't take it seriously. Don't make this something more than it is. Don't get serious about this. Like lighten up.
Is this kind of a teamwork? Like in part,
Yeah.
you are communicating all the knowledge you acquired through studying, and then eventually Jesus says, "Hey, let me put another little detail in there," or how is it
I
working?
do I channel Jesus for a group that I have where we do some studying of A Course in Miracles, the text right now. And it's people will ask questions and Jesus, has to come in and, explain, yes, you're on the right path with this, or you need to loosen up more and stop taking it so seriously. And that happens a lot. Lighten up. We
So
get a lot.
you are like a teacher, right? You start, but it's a huge book. I mean, it's like
It is.
it's really it's not like you can do it on a weekend or like let's
Yeah,
have
you
a
can't do that.
2 hour meeting and
No, not at all. It's over 1,000 pages, I think. Yeah.
so it takes at least, I mean, even the workbook is 1 year. So maybe before you want to read the introduction to the workbook,
Yeah.
or is it happening at the same time? I have no idea. I had my own story how I got the book, but I just read a couple of pages actually. I must
Mm,
confess. Mm.
it's okay. Yeah, you have to be really committed to wanting to let go of your own beliefs in the world. And I love how he says it's basically like like a total reversal, which means where you have projected out this whole world, you read A Course in Miracles, which pulls it back in to the fact that you're the one who made up this whole world. And that's where the work was in your own mind and not. about the world.
It's a very, very powerful book. I can tell by the few peoples I spoke to. Those are have very deep insights, and the most fascinating for me is like it has a lot of aspects. Those are taught in non-duality teachings. Even
That
someone told me it's the most non-duality book that is out there.
very non-duality. It's non-dual and it's very stoic. So
Stoic. Okay, I don't know that I heard stoic, and sometimes I these AI generated videos about stoic philosophy, and I'm like, oh, come on, I don't have this body, I can't repeat what you're telling me.
yeah, it's just it is a philosophy that's very helpful because it basically says that you are the maker of your problems. And because of that, you're also the one who can let it go, and you're the one who can change your mind. You're the one who can choose differently. The world is not going to do it for you. But that's empowering
It
because
is absolutely, and it is timeless, you know. Now I could ask you, what's about the most urgent matters? You know, there's a war going on there, and now AI is attacking us, and the prices are rising, and all these little daily problems. Do you have anything to say to these problems?
basically it's a dream. It's a dream. All these things are happening in a dream. It's not actually happening at all. If you look into like quantum physics and the way that that is, it's basically a lot of, you can see that in the course, very quantum. And there's another scientist, I don't know if he's a scientist, he's a mathematician who is incredible. He also was able to explain the universe using math, which I don't understand, but basically it's the same thing. Like there is no world. Mathematically speaking, you can solve that problem by seeing in an equation that there's no world, just like in quantum physics. If you look at quantum physics, you really see that there's nothing.
Yeah, we have all these types of languages. Now we are speaking English. Some people know how to speak math. Then and we have knowledge, we have our senses, we have our body to experience the world, but in ultimately, like it is, there's no way we can grasp it if it's not like by divine grace, which supposedly is something that happened to you, as I feel that. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky in a way
It
because
is
we are talking about it, and we maybe we can say, yeah, do this, do that, or whatever, make some exercise, go meditate, or read the
very,
book, and but in the end, ultimately. It's something beyond that. This so and even like the activity of searching and trying and doing
yeah,
can be an obstacle, right?
yes, absolutely. And it actually is an obstacle. It can be that, like, I know that too much intellect and analytical thinking is a big block. Because if you're trying to figure things out, in the linear form and work it out like that, but there is no linear in reality. Real reality is like there's no time. Time doesn't exist, space doesn't exist. So trying to do things on a linear timeline makes no sense. It gets you nowhere.
So you get right to that place where you are already.
Yeah,
Nowhere.
exactly. Exactly. That's basically it. When you think you're going somewhere like that, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, people have the idea, oh, and then next thing is I want to be enlightened.
Yeah, that's a big one. That can be a huge block. I need to become enlightened. Well, you're not going to become enlightened if you're trying to do that. Because basically, number one, like there is no world and you're not really here. Why do you think that the larger part of you or who you really are is not already enlightened? So, you know, the ego is saying, become enlightened. Become
Yeah, but
enlightened.
that
That's all
that
you're
the
trying.
ego, there's unfortunately there's no case of an enlightened ego.
No, not at all. Just a lot of frustrated, stuck.
Well, some people they dress their ego, like in golden dresses, and they put themselves a special hat, and then they say, "Yes, it's me. I'm enlightened."
I'm enlightened, exactly.
Don't trust these people, You're
Exactly.
wasting your time,
Right.
which you don't have. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't want you to know that.
Yeah, people are so worried about, oh, I have little time, I have to do stuff. I have to run, I have to do this and the other. But if time doesn't exist, maybe you can relax now. You can
Exactly,
relax a little bit.
exactly right. In fact, that's what we need to do is just step back. So,
Yeah, and maybe we reached that point where we have to step back.
yeah.
People cannot concentrate longer than an hour.
Hmm.
And we are close to reaching this point, and so I don't want to steal more of your time.
Well, thank
But
you.
maybe I would like you, yeah, to give us a little gift, tell us something that is important for us, if possible. So something that, especially those who found these little pixels in front of them on their little screen, on phone, or whatever type of technology they are using to listen to that. Is there anything they should know now? Special message for them.
Just like we were saying, relax. You're not going to die. That's a really good thing to keep in mind. The body is not you. You are not your body. The body dies, but you don't. You're spirit and you're eternal. So you have nothing to worry about, really. So just relax. Really just keep letting that go. Just keep releasing yourself from your own attachments to the world and just lighten up. That's a really big message to the world. Chill out, lighten up.
Okay, okay, I'll write that down later. I I put it onto my to-do list, maybe somewhere there on the fifth spot or something. There's so much important thing I have to do. Yes, people, there's a link down in the description so people can go onto your YouTube channel. Do you want to add anything people could do to connect with you?
My YouTube channel is a good place to connect. So I just want to help.
Almost, I don't know, 99% of humans, if they are asked, if you ask them for help, they will help.
Yeah,
People are
true.
open. It's very human,
Hmm.
and sometimes we forget about this. But if you need some help, ask. Ask the people those are around you. Maybe you never ask, and they want to help you, but you're not asking. So
True.
it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Erin, I thank you so much for your time,
Thank you.
and all the best to you and your channel. And I'm looking forward to listening to some more what's coming through from Jesus. And yeah, people, if you want to listen to her channeling, please watch it on YouTube. You'll be amazed. It sounds crazy, but there's so much interesting and good stuff in there. It's really worth spending a little time beside your scrolling.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.